Nebraska's picked up a little moisture.
We finally got some rain.
We got a little bit over an inch of rain.
Rain that we received in the last 10 days here has been a real game changer for us.
The general consensus for most of Nebraska over the last 7 to 10 days, that rain has been a much-needed relief. I'm Alex Makovica with this week's episode of Fridays in the Field, brought to you by FNBO, the Great Big Small Bank. The amount of topsoil with adequate moisture in the state has doubled in the last week, according to the latest report, with several rain events making a big difference. Last week, 75% of topsoil rated very short to short. That's down to 50% this week, with basically half of the state now having adequate moisture. That still means, though, a lot of acres need some more.
Yes, I was looking at where we kept some cows right next to the house here a week ago. You couldn't even see them because the dust was blowing so bad, and now it's so wet that it's muddy, put it that way. Rain is very important to everything.
Well, good.
You can keep raining. You can rain an inch a week, it'd be fine with me, or more.
We'll take it.
Yeah.
That's the voice of Richard Waller, who farms in the Holdridge area. Said he got about an inch over the last week or so. Brent Woodman of Kennesaw getting about the same amount, but he says
The pastures is what I was really getting concerned with. This isn't going to fix it. We're going to need more. We're still dry lotting the cows, trying to hold out as long as we can before we turn them out, but we'll see where it ends.
up in the northeast corner of the state in Cedar County, Jim Miller says it's kind of a similar picture.
Spring planting went really well, hardly any rain delays. It was getting rather dry, so this rain that we received in the last 10 days here has been a real game changer for us. We'd been around with pivots 2 times already to try to get the herbicides activated and the crops up and going, and so getting this rain in the last week here has been a real plus for us.
Miller said up there in the northeast part of the state, over the last 10 to 14 days or so, they've caught over 2 inches of rain.
Had a hard time getting the beans into some good moisture at times, and then just before we got this rain 10 days ago, we had that 90-degree temperatures and the strong hot winds, and we had some corn that it actually burned the leaves off, and I thought it was going to die, but after we got the rain, it's came back to life. It's green back up and shooting new leaves now, so it should be all right, but we don't need any more of that hot, dry winds like we had.
These recent rains, obviously very good for the corn and soybean crops as well as pastures, but the question is, was it too late for Nebraska's wheat crop? Roy Shaneman is executive director of the Nebraska Wheat Board and was recently on the wheat quality tour that took place just a couple of weeks ago.
Nebraska was looking at maybe a 40 bushel per acre crop this year. Again, these are estimates based on plant counts or head counts, the condition of the crop, any disease pressures we're seeing, moisture conditions. But it was our best guess at the time. And of course, since then, Kansas has seen more rain, so we expect, yields to be pretty strong there. Nebraska's picked up a little moisture. We're in a little bit different stage of crop development. Hopefully it wasn't too late. We had been so dry so long in Nebraska, but we're hoping these late rains will help get us through, especially through heading and flowering and grain fill.
But for now, time will tell on how much those rains will help. That's this week's episode of Fridays in the Field, brought to you by FNBO, the Great Big Small Bank.